What's up, guys? Nightingale here, and welcome back to another balance adjustment video. As promised, here we go. Here is the 413 balance preview. I have not seen who is on this, and I opened it up, so I kind of forgot I was supposed to do this today. I'm not gonna lie, I was about to fire Borderlands off. I'm like, oh wait, we had balance video, or the balance patch was supposed to come out today. So yeah, let's see. Let's see who's being done. Just remember, they weren't gonna work on ML5s. I mean, I've ground this into the ground at this point. They weren't gonna redo any ML5s unless it was vital to the meta. And we've seen useless ML5 after useless ML5 buff. It's great. So let's jump on in and see what we've got. So balance adjustment targets. We're gonna have Moonlight 5-star Last Rider Crow. Wow, okay. Moonlight, Closer Charles. Why the hell are you here? Okay. Covenant, let's see here. Kin, Lilius, Ilyanov, Tywin, and Christy. Okay. Crown of Glory and Ancient Dragon's Legacy is getting... Oh, Ancient Dragon's Legacy is going at it again. Alright. Well, let's go ahead and get ready for disappointment. For every time... Let's see here. Y'all would be drunk if we did every time they add defense pen or extra turn or anything to this. So we're just gonna... not do that, because we're not gonna have you guys wasted. But get your bingo cards ready, everybody. Boys and girls, make sure you hit that free space. Everybody's allowed to get that one. And now let's see, every time we see defense pen, every time we see extra turn, ignores defense, let's just go ahead and throw extinction in there, skill nullifier, you know, the usual. I cop out because we have no creativity. So get your bingo cards and let's get ready. All right, so Last Rider Crow, they're going to go, let's see here. Code number 00, so this is probably his S1. After being attacked, decreases, no, this sounds like his passive. After being attacked, decreases skill cooldowns of the caster by 1 turn. After suffering attack that targets all allies, decreases skill cooldowns by an additional 1 turn. Grants barrier to all allies for 1 turn. Increased proportional to the caster's max health, and barrier effect can be activated once per turn. Barrier strength has been increased on this. Okay. So after suffering attacks, okay, so they're basically giving me another one. So let's see here. Okay, so they're basically giving it, every time you hit him, he's decreasing his skill cooldown. Okay. Why not? Let's see here. Mobile Weapon Siegfried. And this is, after? No, we want to go after Awakened. That's what we care about. So, summons Siegfried and attacks all enemies before granting immunity to all allies. For 2 turns, penetrates defense. This is already at his kit. Don't hit your space yet. Cannot trigger a critical hit. Damage dealt increased proportional to the caster's max health and speed. Okay. Damage dealt increases every time the skill is used and can stack up to 3 times, and the skill cooldown has now been increased. With this skill. So basically they're allowing you now to reduce his cooldown faster, but at the same time they are they're increasing his skill cooldown to, I guess, balance it out. Alright, cool, whatever. So what's their logic behind doing this stuff? Last Rider Crow is a knight hero who can shift the tide of battle by protecting his allies from enemy AoE attacks while also dealing damage. However, his performance in battle with his was limited if the enemy rarely or never used AoE attacks. This barrier could not be triggered, and his cooldown of mobile weapon Siegfried did not decrease, resulting in a minimal and minimal contribution. To address this issue, his cooldown will now decrease by 1 turn after being attacked, and by 2 turns when attacked by an AoE. This improves his overall effectiveness throughout his base cooldown. Will improve his overall effectiveness. Although his base cooldown will increase to 1 to balance his cycle. Additionally, the damage dealt by a skill mobile weapon Siegfried will increase proportional to his max health and speed, maximizing synergy with his other skill, Punishment, which increases his speed. So basically it's still Ice Krau's issue is you just ignore him till the end and nobody cares. Basically, as long as you're not hitting him, nobody cares. But overall, see how this works. Being able to, when he does get in, he's going to start punishing you for it. But again, it's just a unit you ignore. And again, does it really matter if you put immunity up or barriers up? No, because everything in its mother strips buffs nowadays. So, okay, cool. Let's see how this plays out. Not going to really give it too much thought. The speed's a little weird because now they're basically going to go pure HP, pure speed. So if you have a Death Pen unit, you can hit them straight full pure HP, and yeah. All right, Loser Charles, Descent, after Awaken. So this is, let's see here. Attacks all enemies after descending, increases attack of all allies for 2 turns. I just saw it. And before increasing combat readiness by 20%, increased evasion of the caster for 3 turns. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and put the skill cannot trigger a counterattack chip on your bingo card. Why? 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 Okay. Whatever. Closer Charles is a powerful hero who excels at buffing allies and dealing the finishing blow to enemies. However, he had a weakness that using his skill Descent exposed his allies to counterattacks. Yes. This is fine. This is okay. To address this, Descent will no longer trigger counterattacks, allowing him to activate evasion on himself more easily, improving his overall survivability and stability in battle. No, stop making mechanics void. You've been doing this with buffs. You're doing this with counter. What next? Oh yeah, you're doing it with defense. You've made defense a completely useless stat. So yeah, cool. Good job. All right, now moving into the RGB heroes. Now, remember what I told you guys in the last video that Shuna definitely needed to be in this balance patch? Well, she's not. She's still trash. They didn't add her. They had one job. Maybe the collab was a last minute thing that they had planned, which means it's probably a rerun. But let's hope that it's something else. But yeah, Shuna's not in this, and I'm disappointed because she desperately needed to rework. And this was probably her only time to get reworked. All right, so Ken, let's take a look at him. So Celestial Kick, let's see here. This is kicks the enemy, decreasing defense for 2 turns before granting the caster increased speed for 2 turns. When the caster is granted Vigor, ignores effect resistance. Damage dealt increased proportional to the caster's max health and acquire fighting spirit. Okay, so now they're changing gains 40 fighting spirit when an enemy is defeated. Now it's just he gains 40 fighting spirit. Okay, cool. Whatever, that works. I don't know how much more viable that will make Ken, but that will definitely seems like an interesting change. Cool. Phoenix Fury awakened after, again, because nobody cares about the non-awakened skill. Delivers a powerful blow after a flurry of strikes, decreasing attack for 2 turns and stunning for 1, grants vigor to the caster for 3 turns. Damage dealt, increased proportional to the caster's max health. At the start of the first battle, gains 40 fighting spirit. So what did they change? At the start of the first battle, gains 50 and gains 5 when attacked. Okay, so they're just changing it just outright. So, okay, I mean, this doesn't change his core part of his kit, which is good, which is the Vigor equals the Ignore Efrez, Death Break. So despite being able to apply buffs on himself with vigor and inflict various number of debuffs on enemies, such as decreasing defense, decreasing attack, stun, burn, Ken's effectiveness in battle was hindered by his unstable fighting spirit mechanic. He could only acquire fighting spirit by being attacked or after defeating an enemy with his skill, Celestial Kick. To address this issue, Ken will no longer gain fighting spirit when attacked, but instead he will always gain it when using Celestial Kick, resulting in a more reliable and effective skill cycle. I'm pretty sure that's not Ken's actual issue, but it is part of it, but that's not why. It's because there's other units out there that just do jobs better and more efficiently than what he does, that, you know, you can just guarantee just it does its job. All right, now this one's weird, and I'm kind of concerned why she's here. Lilius. Keep in mind, this is Fire Lilius. This isn't Conqueror Lilius. This is Fire. So, follow me, charge after. Takes the lead and attacks, triggering a dual attack from the random enemy. It'll still be Tamron even though Tamron's not on your team. Just remember that. Increases critical hit chance by 50% when attacking. Additional damage increase proportional to the caster's max health. Soul Burn grants extra turn. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you add that to your bingo card. There we go. We grant extra turn. Hooray. Couldn't go one without it. So, all right, we're already in the balance patch, and we've already got, cannot be counterattacked, and we've got, grants extra turn. We're doing great so far. That's far enough after. So this seems like this is her passive. After an enemy uses a non-attack skill, dispels one debuff from the caster and activates Suppression against the enemy caster. Suppression can only be activated once every 2 turns. Suppression provokes the target for 1 turn and grants a barrier to the caster for 2 turns. Barrier strength increases proportional to the caster's max health. Barrier strength has been decreased. Okay, so defensive formation originally was deploys a divine weapon granting barrier to the caster for 2 turns before having a 100% chance to provoke the enemy for 2 turns, barrier strength. Oh, so they just straight up changed it. So they've given her a passive now versus a second skill. And I mean, they did take away her ignore F-res soul burn, but they gave her an extra attack. Still kind of crap. But hey, you know what? All right, cool. This actually can technically fix a few things because there's a lot of bullcrap out there right now that has a lot of debuffs, and maybe this will help out some way. Depends on what I'm about to read next. All right, ready, load, fire after awakened. Dispels all debuffs from all allies and commands the land of Perlin army to fire on all enemies, decreasing combat readiness and increased critical hit chance by 50% when attacking, inflicting damage according to the attack of the hero with the highest attack damage dealt is increased. All right, Gunther users, good luck, have fun. I can't wait to see this. So she's already getting an extra 50% crit chance, so all she needs is 50% crit, and she will be critting 100% of the time. So they're trying to make her kind of like really a damaged knight, allowing her to do a little bit of both. So it'll be interesting to see if people will end up playing into that, or if they're going to go straight bulk and speed and try to make her something a little bit different. Lilius is a knight who is capable of protecting allies and contributing offensively depending on her equipment. However, aside from her skill, follow me, charge, her other skills were underutilized, resulting in underperformance in PvP content. No, it's just called there's better stuff out there. To address this issue, her skill defensive formation will be changed into a passive skill called That's Far Enough, triggered by certain conditions to make her more viable in PvP. Thankfully. That's Far Enough will specialize in suppressing enemies who use non-attack skills and grant Lilius a barrier to protect herself. This skill enhancement will also change with the existing soul burn effect being transferred to Follow Me Charge with modified effects. Additionally, her attacking skills will now increase critical hit chance by 50%. and the overall skill damage of Ready, Load, Fire will increase, allowing players to explore different roles for her. As a result, the existing effect of increasing her combat readiness after Ready, Load, Fire will be removed as her overall skill efficiency is enhanced. So, I mean, it sounds like they're trying to slightly render some of the crap that they've let loose. Again, ignore F-Res is definitely a thing, so... let's see, let's see what happens. I don't know. This is a decent change for her. It'll probably help out some, but... Alright. I am so nervous for this one because, boy, has she needed this for a long time, and I have theory crafted time after time again of what could possibly make her better. So let's see, let's see what they end up doing. Ilyanov, Rush, after. Attacks the enemy with a spear, damage dealt increased proportional to the caster's max health. When the skill is used, if it is not triggered by a dual attack, has a 50% chance to use Punish instead of Rush. This does not trigger a dual attack. All they're doing here is damage dealt increased. So hopefully this will help out with this because technically you're running her on Elbrus and a counter set. So let's see what goes on. Alright. So, attacks and pierces the enemy, inflicting injuries, which has been in her kit forever. After a successful attack, deals additional damage equivalent to 50% of the injury inflicted on the target. What? A successful attack will deal additional damage equivalent to 50%. Okay. So, she'll injure some. Okay. Damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's max health. The severity of injuries increase proportional to the damage dealt. Injuries decrease max health of the target by up to 20% every single time. Alright, so we'll see. Alright, so that's her skill 2. Now, Repel after Awakened. Attacks all enemies, mercilessly inflicting injuries. Okay, so there we go. We're adding injury to this. Grants increased critical hit damage to all allies for 2 turns, granting immunity to the caster for 2 turns. Damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's max health. The severities of injuries proportional to the damage dealt increase. Okay, so they're basically adding the subtitle text for this. Injuries really the best that they could do for her? Okay. Alright. I would have done something. To me, I felt like the big issue for me was Rush. Because when this doesn't trigger, this is when crap really hits the fan. When this does trigger, this is when things are going great for you. S3 is really just bonus stuff, so cool. I guess it's to help out with the HP, non-existent HP units that are out there at this point. Everything seems to be fast and hard. So, let's see what they say. The role of Ilyanov will be shifted to specialize in continuously attacking enemies, inflicting injuries, accumulating damage. The damage dealt by her skills, Rush and Repel, will be increased. Repel will be changed to inflict injuries on all enemies and making it easier to contain them. Punish will now inflict injuries to deal additional damage equivalent. Additional damage equivalent to the injuries inflicted. Additionally, the soul burn effect will increase damage dealt, which will synergize with energy. Yeah. Oh, I just realized that. No, this is bad. The skill cooldown I actually would use depending on the fight, because that would reset. That I could potentially end up killing because I could guarantee that I could get that skill off twice if I needed it. But this may help out. Maybe if the damage is good enough, maybe that'll do. To focus, however, her skills are now changed to focus more on offensive aspects. Punish will no longer increase her defense. That kind of sucks, but at the same time, doesn't really matter for how I play. I typically have stuff like that. All right, Ice Tywin. So just remember, Butthole Tywin got buffed last patch. Let's see what they do for Tywin this patch. All right, Sword Storm after. Attacks with a Sword Storm with a 75% chance to dispel one buff. Damage dealt increased proportional to the caster's max health, and his soul burn is now increases effectiveness. Increases the effect chance to 100%. Okay, so he's basically got a 100% chance to strip a buff on his S1. All right, Tywin command. Oh. Wow. Immune to debuffs, which prevent movement, so stun and sleep. When the ally in the back row has a debuff, which prevents movement after being attacked, activates commanding shout to the target, or on the target. Can be activated once every 2 turns, and commanding shout dispels all debuffs from the ally and grants immunity for 2 turns. Alright, so looks like this is a anti-debuff unit now. Alright, Tywin might actually have some use. Oh wait, tactical command after Awakened. Oh! I didn't see that. So immune to debuffs, which prevent ally movement, just dispels 2 buffs from the and grants barrier for 2 turns. That's the difference. It's now going to grant the barrier for 2 turns is the difference between it. Stun and sleep are the debuffs that prevent movement, and proportional to the caster's max health. Of course, that's how it would go. 1 turn, 1 turn. Okay. All-out attack after. Attacks all enemies after a Sword Storm with a 100% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns and increase defense of all allies for 2 turns. Damage dealt increased proportional to the caster's max health, and now will acquire 3 souls. Hey, we actually lost a Grant's extra turn. Wow. I mean, to be fair, this kind of does justify it right here. Grants increased attack, critical hit chance. Yeah, this was a very old kit. Tywin's one of the original units, so I mean, it's about time that they bring him up to a little more advanced. Alright, it's interesting. I don't know how well it'll play out in practicality. But we'll have to see. So let's see here what they have to say about Tywin. Tywin will assume the new role as a protector of the ally in the back row against paralyzing effects such as stun and sleep. Commanding shout will be modified to more effectively protect an ally from paralyzing effects by removing debuffs and granting immunity and barrier. The skill will also be changed from a turn-based skill to a passive skill called Tactical Command, which is triggered when an ally in the back row is affected by paralyzing effects after being attacked, providing immediate protection. To align with this change, Tywin's skill enhancement effects of his second skill will be modified, and the soul burn effect on all-out attack will be transferred to Sword Storm with modified effects. Finally, soul acquired from all-out attack will be increased, and it will now grant increased defense buff to all allies, greatly improving Tywin's support abilities. But the buff duration will be shortened from 3 turns to 2 turns. Why? It doesn't matter. It's just going to get stripped anyway. In the line of these balance adjustments, is exclusive equipments, option 2 and 3 will be changed as follows. Decrease, let's see here. Now it'll be increases the combat readiness of the ally in the back row by 10% when using Sword Storm, and increases commanding shout barrier by 20%. So basically they're going to end up using the combat readiness one. And of course there's the changes, and you'll be able to recall and switch over. Alright, this one I'm kind of curious about. So, Christy, they're changing, this appears to be her passive? After being attacked when the caster does not have a debuff, increases the combat readiness of the caster and the ally in the back row by 20%. Can be activated once per turn. At the start of the battle, increases the effect resistance in the back row by 50% of the caster's effect resistance. The attack rate does not change after it's activated, or the rate does not... okay, so it's her base. It's still her passive if she'll give you the back row 50%. I actually don't like this. I'm gonna be real. because that was kind of one of the cool things about Christy is you could build her on a triple resist set, and then she would still counter. And potentially, I believe it's decreased attack was her debuff or something like that. I can't remember. It's been so long since I actually used her. But I mean, 99% of the time, I just sent Christy into die. I'm like, here, give him the F-res, and then you've done your job. Your mission's successful. So cool. I mean, sure, it's gonna boost the person in the back row, but I'd rather have the counterattack. I'm gonna be real. This is more practical in general play, but I'd rather have basically a Elbrus baked on her for free. So that's me. So let's see what they end up saying about this. Christy is a hero who grants buffs such as increasing attack of all allies and defense to herself, while also... it was Provoke was her S1. I believe is what that was. She efficiently increases effect resistance to the ally in the back row. Not that this matters, because they ignore F-res now, like everything. Reducing the chance of neutralization by enemy debuffs. To improve her efficiency in this role, her skill Oath Shield will now be changed to increase combat readiness of herself and the ally in the back row when she is not inflicted with any debuffs after being attacked. This replaces the existing chance to counterattack. We expect this change to boost her overall effectiveness in battle. I mean, yes, but you're kind of blind to what people were doing with this unit. But cool. Something is something to her, and that's at least that. Alright, Crown of Glory. So it was originally just a defense and remove souls. When attacking an ally that suffers an attack... When an ally suffers an attack that targets all enemies, decrease damage suffered by 10 to 20%. Removes 5 souls from the enemy. When more than one damage reduction is effect, only the strongest one is applied. Of course. So basically, you're going to get a 10 to 20 blanket reduction. So it's probably 15% at plus 15. It'll still remove 5 souls from the enemy. Yeah, Crown of Glory effect will be changed, increasing the wearer's defense... From increasing the wearer's defense to decreasing damage suffered by all allies when attacked by AoE skills. This effect change will make the artifact more versatile and useful for team-oriented battles. I don't know. I actually used it on defense percent unit, so I liked it. But okay, whatever. It's definitely more usable by more knights. We'll see how it goes. Ancient Dragon's Legacy. So, let's see here. After the caster uses a non-attack skill, decreases the cooldowns of all allies by 1 turn, and has a 50 to 100% chance to increase critical hit damage of the caster for 2 turns. Skill cooldown reduction effect can only be activated once. So, yeah. That's an odd thing, especially for a knight. Ancient Dragon's Legacy, artifact effect will be altered to decrease skill cooldowns of all allies by 1 turn after the wearer uses a non-attack skill, increasing the critical hit damage, and instead of increasing the critical hit chance. Equipping this artifact on a knight who uses non-attack skills can reduce the skill cooldown of allies, also increasing the overall damage output by boosting their critical hit damage. Again, it's a buff, so it could be and potentially still strip. These are the proposed balance adjustments and improvements that are scheduled for the update on April 13th. Okay, cool. I mean, it's not complete and total butt cheeks, but I don't even care. So, yeah. It's really whatever. Is there anything y'all want to ask? I'll give you guys a few minutes. I'll give you guys a minute or two if you want to ask questions. If not, we're gonna wrap this up and move on to other things. I need somebody to push down right about the back of, just about right between my shoulder blades. Just one good, I swear, if I could get one good push right there, it would feel so much better. I think I might need a new pillow, might end up being what it is. Or maybe just sitting at a computer for 12, 14 hours a day. It's finally catching up to me, even though I try to sit as straight as possible. I wouldn't get too excited about the Ilyanov buff. I'm gonna be real. It's different. We'll see. It's not quite how I really didn't know what to do, but I definitely would not have done more injury-based stuff. But that's where they took it, so that's fine. Scoliosis is fun. I have lower back pain 24/7. I don't think it's scoliosis. I think it's just probably a bad pillow. I hadn't changed them out for a while, and I do sit at a computer 24/7. Missed my thoughts on Crow. TLDR, it's a whatever thing. I mean, it's literally suffers the same issue as, Ice Crow. Don't hit him. Don't have to worry about him. Let him sit there and do his crap however often he wants, and then just kill him off last, and he's fine. Or, as everything else goes, just outright kill him, and you don't have anything to worry about. It's that simple. So if you're able to go through and blast and one-shot him, then one-shot him, and he's no longer an issue. So the unit doesn't do crap if it's not there. So yeah, it's good. But yeah, major disappointment for this balance patch, especially if they knew that Slime was gonna really be if they knew Slime was gonna be run for a while, that Shuna is not in this. Now, the reason why I say this is just as a reminder to everyone, they always do a balance patch. The balance patch prior to the collabs rerun, this was very obvious with Guilty Gear. They would balance out the collab unit. That is not the case here, and Shuna is not in this list. So she is still one of the worst collab units we've had. People have tried to make her work. She's okay. She's got some interesting ideas, but the one collab unit that really needed a kind of a rework just to balance her out, it's literally a collector. She's in the game. So, consider that. So, we're going to wrap it up here since it's, seems like nobody else really has any questions. We're going to go ahead and wrap the video up. So thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. There you have it. There is the 413 balance adjustments. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the units you actually care about getting buffed. There is a few interesting changes that I'm kind of interested in looking at seeing. The Ilyanov one. The Lilius is a bit weird, but okay, I'll roll with it. Tywin, I guess. All right. Ken, it's kind of a whatever. Charles, bullcrap. And Crow, whatever. Yeah, really, it's up to you guys and what you think, and you can go out and hopefully these are improvements for you guys. And stuff in the way you want to play. That's the most important thing, is does it help the way you want to play? For the way I look at it, nothing really changes for me. It's pretty much status quo as usual. Nothing out of the ordinary that changes how I play the game. So, yeah, y'all take care. We'll be back Wednesday with hopefully some more collab news, because now that the leak's out there, hopefully they just go ahead and announce it and kind of let us know what's coming on. If not, it'll be 2 weeks when we get that, or not, yeah, it'll be 2 weeks when we get the official, hopefully the official announcement on it, and we actually find out if there will be a third unit or if this is going to be a rushed rerun. If it's rushed, keep in mind it'll be 2 weeks versus 3, and let's see what they do with that. So y'all take care, enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.